The poor Twins, Pat, overshadowed by this Timberwolves run here, overshadowed by the Vikings drafting a quarterback a few weeks ago. But they're red hot. They are one of the best records in the American League. They've got the Yankees coming to town here. I want to ask you about Bailey Ober. If you
Yeah.
take away his first start where he gave up like 8 runs in an inning and a third, he's been one of the best starting pitchers in the entire league so far.
Yes, and I'll give Morneau credit because earlier this year, after this clunker, Ober was starting his second game of the year, and Morneau said, "I think he's one of the better starters in the American League," and I thought he was smoking marijuana or something,
Wow.
but he's been pretty good.
Fucking dope.
And Ober is, he's been fantastic, and it's not. You don't watch him and you aren't dazzled by the stuff, are you? But I think the fact, and Judd and I talked about this. What is he? 6'8", 6'9"? What is he?
6'9", yeah.
6'9".
Okay.
The fastball that's 93 is 98 because he's reaching out there, but he flips up that variety of breaking pitches and off-speed pitches, and I don't know, they seem to fool people. And he's got a good changeup now too. So I don't know. He's a big old horse. Didn't we had to shut him down for a couple of weeks last year, right? Because of overuse, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. He's an interesting kid too. I mean, not kid. I don't know how old he is. Was he 26, 27?
He's like 28. Yeah.
He's 28.
Yeah. I remember writing a piece about him, like when he had that incredible. He wasn't a high draft choice at all, right? 15th round or something, and
12th.
and he just had this phenomenal season. The one minor league season he had there, all of a sudden he became a prospect. He wasn't really one, and I remember talking to him over there at in the minor league complex, and just a really calm individual for a. You know what? He probably. Never went through life being challenged by anybody physically, so he could be very calm, because I've never seen a good story on where the height comes from. Is dad 6'6" and mom 6'2", or what's the deal?
Yeah, how does that work out? Don't you have to have a parent that wouldn't it make sense logically that one of your parents you'd like be in the middle somewhere?
Could be a grandparent too, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's been great. There's no doubt about it, and it's never it doesn't seem high stress for him because he's just kind of throws. He got about 3 pitches, and he throws a changeup here and this thing here, and then he throws a fastball once in a while. And I wonder if that angle makes people swing at because where the ball's coming from makes them swing at the high fastball more often than they would normally. I don't know what it is, but he seems to get away with pitches that don't like blow your mind when you're watching them. Oof, it's not Duran, but he gets them out. It's pretty dang good. And Ryan's been better. He gives up his 1 home run a time, but he's a feisty guy. So they've managed to slap this starting rotation together for the most part.
Even if you include the first clunker against Kansas City, which it still obviously counts, he is currently second in WHIP in the American League. And that includes the absolute clunker he started with against Kansas City. So he's been incredible. He was also, Pat, his family, his younger brothers were close with Drake May. They're from the same area in North Carolina.
That's
right.
So
his family and Drake May's family, their brothers are like all friends. Their families are friends. So he has a connection to him. So if the Vikings would have taken Drake May, we would have had our in with Bailey Ober.
Well, and it's that's just more evidence that the Vikings should have been more bold and threw in a couple more number ones and went up and got Drake May.
Patriots fans are already very nervous because the way that Gerard Mayo, the coach, is talking about him, he said he's got a lot of things to work on now that we've seen him in person. Mm-hmm. And Patriots fans are like, "Oh no, did we pick the wrong quarter? We should have traded back."
Yeah, well, that's all right. You can spend a year watching Jacoby Brissett, right? Isn't that who they brought in as their?
Yeah, he's better than anyone they ran out there the last 2 years.
He's their version of Sam Darnold. So
real quick, back to Ober and the Twins. if he's going to be sort of this for the season, just a really good high-end starting pitcher, how does that change what they should be doing at the trade? Like, do you feel good with their 3 guys right now as a playoff rotation if the playoffs started now, Pat?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the matchups and stuff. I would certainly feel better if they had a big time starter, but I just don't. I mean the way they talked about money and with the TV chaos and stuff, I don't see him going and getting somebody that's expensive. I can go see him getting another. It would be great to find a left-hander. I would think somehow, somewhere. It's ridiculous that they never have it. They haven't. But when Dallas Keuchel started last year, was the first left-hander to start in 300 games or something.
It is weird, yeah.
By the way, I was looking at Mexican League rosters yesterday. I didn't have much to do. I found a lefty down there, Tommy Malone. He's down there. Tommy's in the
Really?
Mexican League.
Yep.
Tommy's in the
Wow.
Mexican League for somebody. So it's always a treat to look through the Mexican League rosters. But this Twins thing, I mean, is I guess obviously 7-13 wasn't real because it certainly did. It looked like it when they were hitting 195. This isn't what do we have here? 40 games in. They're now on pace to win 97. I don't see that happening.
Well, so now we're back the other way where
yeah, right. What are we going to see here?
this is not sustainable.
The Yankees coming to town, and it will be. I'm very curious. Are they going to get 25,000 people a game for 3 games in the middle of the week and playing well like this?
Have we opened the upper deck back up for this series?
Yeah, they opened it up in this month. They opened it up this month, and there were a couple of days that they actually had some people up there. But we'll find out how much trouble they're in attendance-wise if they don't draw anybody for the Yankees. Wow. By the way, the New York Yankees, the dominant, big-spending Yankees, have not been in the World Series since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
It's and they have not They haven't even played in the AL Championship Series for a long time.
2017, the infamous Astros Yankees buzzer gate, trash can gate series.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
But yeah, they haven't been there since 09.
It is we just completed. Well, we didn't just complete. We're now 4 years removed from it. We just completed the first decade since the 19 teens that the Yankees didn't play in the World Series.
Wow.
They and usually multiple times,
By the way, we're halfway through the next decade too, right?
Yes, yeah. I always have a problem with decades, whether the one is when the decade starts and the other one ends, because with the Twins, it's a lot easier if you start the decades with the one, because then it's 61 to 70.
I think it's the zero because
zero
it's like
right?
I think it is the zero official.
You talk about the 80s, you don't include 1990 in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you're including the Twins and you want numerical simplicity, the first decade was 61 through 70, right?
I like the Royce theory. You know what the problem is? Hank Steinbrenner is boring. The Yankees don't make I miss George.
I was just
he would have blown Boone out 3 years ago.
I was just thinking about the same thing. How long do you think Brian Cashman would have lasted with, if George had been around? I mean, what's he, 15 years, the GM or something?
Yeah.
George
was it more like 20, right?
They'd lose 2 in a row to the Orioles, and he wouldn't have gotten through Tuesday, for goodness' sake.
He would have quit by now.
Yeah.
Cashman would have quit.
Yeah, and George would have. You think the Dodgers would have signed Ohtani if George was there? George would have given him $800 million. He would have given him. He wouldn't have got outbid for the other Japanese guy either. George was. It was a treat, man. It was a treat to see after games half the Yankee press corps go downstairs to go to the clubhouse, and the other half would wait for George to come out of his booth over there where he watched the games. If they lost, if they won, and he was happy, then nobody waited. But if there was any evidence that George was fuming over there. But the Washington Post to have three guys, New York Post to have three guys waiting to see what George what tirade he had to do. First World Series I ever covered was, wasn't it when he fired the second baseman? Wasn't it? That was Charlie. Excuse me.
Yeah, Charlie.
But
Fired Mike
he
Andrews.
ordered them. He did order them to take somebody out of the lineup though in '81. I can't remember who that was, but he did have some. And then of course he had the famous fight in '81 in the elevator where he came with the bruises and on his face and said that he got in a fight in the elevator at the hotel because somebody was bad mouthing the Yankees. And there was nobody knows where the bruises.
Joe Polad needs to get in a fight just to prove how much he loves the Twins.
Lee Montville from the Boston Globe was one of the great columnists of all time. In his time, wrote a column about how he was on the elevator with George. And when they got to the second floor, they kicked the crap out of a bunch of Nazis. And when they got to the third floor, they kicked the hell out of a motorcycle bag gang. And when they got to the fourth floor, when the fight happened on the sixth, anyway, he had him beating the hell out of ruffians for like 4 floors, and then he said, "I got off after that. I don't know what happened on the 6th floor." It was, I kept that column for years. It was hilarious. It was, but the guy was crazy. I mean, it was unbelievable. And now you look at them, and they're like, these are not the Yankees. And the first time they calmed down was when George got suspended, remember? And then Gene Michael kind of took her all over and made all the decisions, and they didn't do all this crazy stuff. But man alive, you got Judge and Soto back to back. When the year's over, they're going to have 110, 15 home runs between them playing in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, those guys. I have just thinking about this Yankees Twins series and Yankees Twins history the last 20, 25 years. I think a declaration, an epiphany has just hit me here, Pat. I think the Yankees have won the battle here. Like for a long time it was, boy, look at the Yankees record versus the Twins, but maybe this is the year that the Twins.
Yeah, right.
And then there was the Slay the Dragon comments that Dave made on our radio show back in the day, but every year it's like, bring on the Yankees. Let's finally get one over on the Yankees. I don't think, like, a generation has passed. I don't think people care anymore. Do Twins fans care about the Yankees anymore?
Well, yeah, the Twins have had so few playoff opportunities that not, it wasn't like the first decade of the century when we had high expectations, right? Those were good teams, and they would run into the Yankees and get beat. But I'll repeat it again. I walked into that Yankee dugout one day here at Target Field. Might have been their first year, and it was Cano, A-Rod, Teixeira, and who am I missing? The fourth, Jeter, sitting on the top of the. They were sitting in the dugout, but they were up on the stoop there in the dugout sheet, and I went back and I think I found the jinx. I think I found the Yankee jinx here. I mean, their teams have been, I don't know what big picture. It's a long discussion, but is there any solution for baseball to solve $300 million payrolls and $30 million?
Yeah, this year is the solution. You see who's in first place in these. I mean, the Brewers aren't spending money. The Guardians aren't spending money. The Twins drastically lowered their payroll. They're sitting up here in a near tie for first. It's kind of flipped this year, actually.
Yeah, but you still don't see the Guards getting in a playoff series with the Yankees,
probably not,
and coming out first. And now it's nice to see the Orioles. But because they don't have the huge payroll, but they're going to have the huge payroll if they want to keep all these kids too. So, I mean, the catcher, there's a $250 million player. Is the Orioles going to sign him? So in a couple of years. So it's a situation, but I gotta say, and it's been lost with the Wolves and everything. I may never have been as surprised by a 20-game stretch by the Twins as I am by this one, because they were awful. And then they go 7. I don't care who you're playing, and then you go 17-3. That's how did this happen now? And I've seen people saying, "Boy, this team is really good," and blah blah blah. Well, yeah, if this is Max Kepler, if this is him,
Contract year.
yeah,
He's
contract
inspired
year.
to go get $50
If
million.
this is him, I mean, it's the next 20 could be 7-13 real quick. So it's
Who are the biggest culprits that you are suspicious of? Max Kepler. Are you suspicious of Jeffers at this point? I don't know if I am.
No, I like Jeffers. I mean, he's not. He probably won't be this, but he's been one of those guys that really worked to make himself better.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Knobloch as in that area in the first 4 or 5 years before he got goofy, but Knobloch always did something every year to make him a better player. He'd add something. Those first 4 or 5 years, he got to be a fantastic player. And Jeffers, I mean, he's added stuff that you never thought that were possible. But you got to say the Twins liked him because they brought him up as a kid to be the catcher for the playoffs at the end of the year. So they saw something in here, and he flipped the switch, obviously.
Larnach, you might be a little suspicious. I think Larnach is a really good hitter, but I don't know that he's like a 325 hitter with a 900 OPS long term. No. Bailey Ober, are you suspicious? We talked about him already, but
not really. I like him. I mean, I do like him. Pitching wise, I don't know who I'm suspicious of. I guess Chris Paddock, just because his how many innings can he do this? 120, 130 maybe they get out of him. Yeah. But
he's already getting close. 37 innings. He's getting close to that limit probably for the season here. Careful.
I don't know, but he really, I give him. He's got the big personality. I give him credit. I think he's really a competitive guy, don't you? The guy doesn't pitch at all for 2 years, and I think he's and he had that terrible clunker. And then he comes fighting back, and pitched 2 great games. And so I think he's really competitive. But there's still a mystery to me. This team is still a mystery to me, especially without Royce Lewis and Buxton. Buxton, even if he's decided he's a 225 hitter, is if you got him in center field, you're just a lot better. Than you are right now with Willie Castro or somebody like that.
When's Buxton due back, Declan?
I don't know.
He's eligible to come back now. I mean, because they've been on the road. Haven't heard an update, but I would imagine he could be activated this series. Very well.
Yeah, well, they said that. I read something a day or so, or they're hoping that he might be ready to go when they get back. And I don't think they're going to do the send him to St. Paul thing.
No.
Do you? No.
No.
I mean, they're going to put him in a lineup. But
yeah.
He's not hitting enough to not be sharp enough as a hitter to be in the lineup. Okay, you can bat him 8th. I mean, you got him down to 6th, right, before they took him out of the lineup.
Should be.
Yeah, so 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I don't know. They're a real mystery, but they're lost in the shuffle here. Now if things go poorly in Denver tonight, there'll be a lot more interest in the Twins, I think.
I don't know, because we're gonna have a game 6 for the season or for the series on Thursday night. Doesn't that run right up against Twins Yankees?
Yeah, it's an afternoon game, but yes. By the way, Kenny Olson pointed this out. They are having the traditional Twins Yankee series closing down the tunnel at 10 p.m. to wash it deal. They always wait till the Yankees come to town to wash the tunnel and close it out. And I do believe 7th is also closed. Like March 15th. What's today? 15th?
May.
It's May 14th.
May 5th. I mean, May 14th. I think it said May 15th they were closing 7th, which is how you get over to the ramp A. So We have people in the state highway department who hate the Twins. We have that they look at the schedule and say, when do they have a big series coming?
The Vikings think the same thing too.
We'll close the place down and wash. We got to get that washing done. On the when the Yankees are in town, that's when they
especially
like
me here in Woodbury. They've 94 West is completely closed for 6 miles, so we're riding on 94 East to go west until at least mid-August. So this is just karma against me. And MNDOT is working against me.
494 by the airport, same thing.
Oh yeah, that's horrible right now.
Because again, the Zolgadian rules of, well, let's just do projects you get one major project a summer. That's the rule. One major project. So if you're going to close 94, you can't close 494.
I saw Switzerland is always like, decades ahead of us in terms of smart infrastructure.
I saw this.
So there's a video that we both got served the same video in our algorithm. So they do these road construction projects, but what they do is they essentially build a new freeway temporary on top of the current one.
Really?
With like 10 feet of clearance. So it's like a ramp. You go up and you're driving above the construction.
Bypass it. Yeah.
So they don't get rid of any lanes. It's great.
I think it was 2 years ago when they were doing 55, right? So they're out beyond here. They were doing 55. So then they were doing 394. So then every road going the same direction, they decided to start working on at the same time. And, if we can't get on 55, then we go over to 394, except you're screwing around with that one too. We have no logic here. We have no logic.
I feel like we should just do a full episode bitching about traffic and construction on this show every week.
The other day I'm going west on 55 from here, and I get past, when it goes down to 2 lanes, when you get past 169, which is also under construction. But they're fixing it, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. The roads are very passable. Everything, you got the right lane closed. There's nothing wrong with it. What are we doing? Let's say we thought we'd have a bad winter and we'd have to fix it, but we've taken it off the floor because we got like one bump in 8 miles, but we're doing it anyway. And I can see one of the roundabouts. They're probably going to put in a roundabout. The dumbest idea in the history of sports. Roundabouts. Spend millions to go,
It keeps the traffic flowing, we don't have to sit there.
I always say they started putting him on Highway 7. There's people from Lester Prairie who've never made it home.
Yes.
They're still going around in circles.
That one that's right by Judd at Park Tavern. People will just stop in the middle of it to let you in. It drives me insane.
Because it's a double one. It's a roundabout, and then you get out, and then you go back in. So it's very confusing to people.
I mean, there are some places where it works, but now we just put them places.
You know why?
For no reason.
Great way to catch drunk drivers. That's my theory.
They just drive right through.
Roundabouts. Well, think about it. If you've had a few, what's more confusing than a roundabout?
The hell is this?
Yes, right. That's true.
Is this a crop circle? What's going on?
And the roundabout experts, really, the people who think they're roundabout heroes, they get really mad. They get really mad if you kind of sneak in. I got the.
It's like the zipper merge. Yeah. It's like nobody understands the fact that you are supposed to cut to the front of traffic and merge in.
Yes.
They get mad.
Yes, they get.
I just close my eyes and just barrel in on the roundabouts. And just hope for the best.
How many hundreds of millions have we spent building those dumbass things? Oh, it's unbelievable.
And back to the tunnel cleaning. Is the tunnel really dirty? Do we really need to be shutting down?
And how do you know?
Yeah.
What are they going to? I got this question for you. What are they going to do? I won't have to be around to worry about it. But 10 years from now, what are they going to do with that thing? There's now people backed up at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yep.
300 cars.
We may need to have an uncomfortable conversation about Dunwoody.
Yes, that's right.
Listen,
That's
Dunwoody,
right.
can we move you to
Yes.
Apple Valley? Can we
Yeah.
we need that space to create some more lanes.
But if people understood the zipper merge,
I'm with
that
Chad.
problem would be
Yeah,
alleviated
yeah,
by a
a
ton.
little
Instead,
bit.
they go back to, they're literally back at Penn, the idiots. They
Yes.
just get in line at Penn.
In my
Grade
old
school.
age, I have become a very distant follower. I do not get up because I don't want to hit anybody in the back end, right? Well, you do that on 394. There's semis cutting in front of you to
Yeah.
get through the tunnel. Don't if you
You're
give them
right.
if you give them 10 feet, here they come, man.
Yeah,
Thousands
that's
of them.
tough. That's why you got to stay left, stay left, stay left. If you see an opportunity to dive
Yeah,
right, do it.
zip right
Otherwise,
in.
just go downtown and go through downtown.
I used to do, now I just cut in.
Yeah, do you really?
Oh, I just cut in. My theory is this. I always shoot for the bumper in front of me. So I get as close to that with my foot on the brake as possible, because
No,
the
I do
person
the
behind me then
opposite.
is screwed, because
I do the
I box
opposite.
them out.
I follow far enough away that the people behind me get mad that other cars are cutting in front of me
See,
because they're mad. They're mad that
You're
I'm
too far
letting
away.
people in.
and see, the
Yeah.
the biggest problem is when you get the indecisive one where they like slow down
Yeah,
and
I've
put their
done that.
blinker on, and now everyone who's going 65 is trying. They're
They're going
Drive
like
with
this.
haste. Drive with haste. I'm with Chad.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, I can't. Oh, no, I just missed it again. Oh, no.
Anyway, Yankees in town, wash the tunnel. That's a tradition
Yes.
with MnDOT.
Yeah.
MnDOT.
It's like the
They're-
June swoon. The June
Yes, yes,
swoon and
right, the
Yankees in
June
town
swoon.
wash the tunnel.
Yep, us old Twins fans, we had our first June swoon and the first June ever, and we worried about the June swoon forever, man. That was
Yep.
great.
Well,
was
all right.
great.
This is a good. I think we broke down a lot of good stuff here. Some
Yes.
baseball, some traffic, complaining.
Yes.
Good full episode here, Pat. We'll talk
Yes.
again a couple times this week.
All right, should be a fun ball game tonight, and I'll get to see the second half when I get home, so that'll be great. Okay.
All right.
See you,
Royce
Royce.
Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, Mr. Money Talk.